what's guys? Hey, what's up, guys? We're back to another video on Park. I'm here with the book, and today we are doing what if Vietnam made an empire. And this was requested by Jaden Awesome 11. He said first Vietnam ASAP. I said all right. So yeah. So Jaden, here is your video that you requested, and for all the other people who requested other empires. Just I will get to them. I will might begin to upload 2 times a week now. Just sorry if I didn't upload yesterday. It was due to because I was very busy. I went to the mall yesterday, then today I hang out with family. So yeah, I may have some free time. So let's begin. First, Vietnam attacks Laos and Cambodia, as they're the 2 weakest neighbors of Vietnam. Going for it first, they attack Cambodia, which cut off their sea access, which really hurts the country. They push up from the coast and knock out Cambodia from the war. Then they want a full-scale invasion of set the north here, and they ultimately capture most of this. And ultimately, Laos and Cambodia both surrender, which are both fully annexed as part of Vietnam, the Vietnamese Empire. And also, just for the people who keep saying that I don't include geography, I'm not that good with mountain areas. All I really know is Himalayas here, desert, big desert right here, mountainous. There's mountains right there. I do know a decent chunk of geography, but it's mostly just to keep the videos more entertaining for you guys. It's not meant to be realistic, so I just want to point that out. So with that, Vietnam has over doubled its size, and so quickly they remobilize their army and attack Thailand, as they want more coastline, as their goal is to establish to become the most dominant power in Southeast Asia, and 2 nations that are threatening it are Thailand and China, which their goal is to weaken both of them and make all of these nations under mostly just Vietnamese influence. So Vietnam launches an offensive to the south. Bangkok is greatly defended, because I believe Bangkok is right there. Fighting continues right there, but they are not able to really break it. So they launch another invasion right there, which gets lots more success, as they're ultimately able to surround Bangkok and the surrounding area. They push up north. But ultimately to stop here due to jungles and stuff. As in they focus a large chunk of their military to capture to the border of Malaysia. Fighting continues in Bangkok as they're slowly getting pushed back to the city, and ultimately after a long devastating fight, Bangkok falls, and ultimately the rest of Thailand surrenders to Vietnam. A total annexation does not happen, as there would be too much land to control, as they're already having some issues with Thailand Laos and Cambodia. So they annex. That's ugly. They annex all of this land up to here, which gives them a lot more resources. and it cripples Thailand. And and the nation falls into a lot of debt and stuff, paying off Vietnam. Thailand does continue as a nation, but is now basically on the verge of collapse, and is under heavy lot of influence from Vietnam. Also, if I like sniffle or anything or stop, that's because I am sick right now. So I just want to say that. So, but I am okay. And after, with this, Vietnam is a very strong nation, and they began to work with other nations such as South Korea, Taiwan, Mongolia, India, and Japan to take down China. So rebels from the Turks in East Turkestan and Tibet are both willing to also help. So ultimately, that does. But Vietnam does attack first to try to capture the most land. The other nations only joined 2 months after due to not being ready for the build. Oh, sorry guys, I just had a lag spike there, but don't worry, that's fine. With the surprise invasion, Vietnam focuses a lot on the coastal areas instead of the more rocky areas of Yunnan. So they are able to capture a decent chunk of land, but are ultimately stopped here by Chinese forces, who were able to push back the Vietnamese a little bit. But after a few months of stalemate, ultimately by the way, these nations are going to be colored in as this red color. With this, North Korea and Pakistan both join on the side of China, which ultimately leads to Myanmar. Myanmar, I believe that's how you say it, to join the war. But due to as now, if you haven't heard, India is now has a bigger population than China, so they do have a bit of a larger access to manpower than China for India. So with this, it's basically at this point just gonna be a back and forth war. Due to this surprise invasion, North Korea does lose Pyongyang and other important in the south quite fast due to an overwhelming amount of artillery strikes and plane strikes from South Korea and Japan. Mongolia, which their main goal is to really just be a distraction, but they are promised a lot of land if they do win, which they are going to get. So they basically just launch a offensive towards They launched an offensive to capture Inner Mongolia, which they are quite successful, surprisingly, in doing so. But that's not really worthwhile, as local Chinese troops over here do stampede through a basically undefended west with only a few local tribes standing up. Sorry about that, guys. With this, India, using its overwhelming manpower and larger army, is able to cut Pakistan off from China as they launch a full-scale invasion, but are ultimately stopped here by Pakistani forces. Now, no fighting over happens over here, as but a rebellion by the Tibetans does happen in the capital, but which is being supplied, but it's slow. An offensive from both Vietnam and India into Myanmar begins, as Myanmar is cannot really put up a fight as the military is very corrupt and stuff. They the nation of Myanmar is wiped out in a matter of just 2 weeks. With this, things already going pretty good for the for the red team, as Taiwan is even able to make a landing, and thanks to local support, they are quickly able to knock out lots of China. Also, if you hear like a farting song in the background, that is my little brother and little sister being very weird and listening to a fart song. So just don't mind that. And so with this, a combined Japanese, Chinese, and Vietnamese offensive breaks through the PRC quite easily, quite roughly though. It's not easy, but it does happen due to overwhelming fire support against mostly manpower, just men with like rifles and stuff, against modern artillery and guns. North Korea, after putting up a valiant fight, is however knocked out as a combined offensive from 2 angles captures Beijing, which slowly begins to lead to the collapse of the PRC. The Tibetans just get out of control as they capture a decent chunk of land. Pakistan loses a bit more ground due to less air support from China, as China is using all of its available resources on its own. It's losing war, but they are surprisingly able to push back the Indians in the south, and are even able to capture some land. Hold on, I'll be right back. Alexa. Sorry about that, guys. It was just getting out of control, and I wanted a better audio for this video. So sorry about that break. Let's get right back into it. ending this massive Pakistani assault is quite surprising. But as the Indians are fighting on several fronts, just continue to focus on just continue to focus on China as knocking them out. Will probably knock out Pakistan, or they could or they could trade lands. With this, as the Chinese are fighting on so many fronts, they do pull out of Mongolia, as China regroups, and that happens kind of. But at this point, PRC sees no more hope, with the nation cut in two, with Manchuria on the ring with Manchu forces, fighting a losing battle, as even the main PRC has lost nearly 20 million soldiers, basically all of its equipment and a decent chunk of its population, and Pakistan is basically running out of resources as well. So both nations do try to make peace, but India, seeing an opportunity for one final assault, does take it and does get some ground back. Ultimately, new borders are drawn, which basically just kills every hope for the PRC as the nation will go extinct. Vietnam gains actually a really big chunk of land, going from over here all the way. That all becomes part of Vietnam. Sorry, I was just checking something to make sure it was off. Mongolia, as promised, does gain a good chunk of land. As promised, Mongolia. What the frick? As promised, for the third or fourth time, Mongolia gains a very big chunk of land, which includes most of Inner Mongolia, to South Korea annexes the entirety of North Korea. Japan does not. Japan only annexes this peninsula right here as just as a war operation, but it will ultimately be ceded back to Taiwan in 50 years. East Turkestan, which really never was able to get a lot of ground movement, but was very much fighting. Does get most of its land. Tibet, as being the largest rebel group, gains more of its land than usual. Myanmar is fully annexed the remainder of Myanmar would be fully annexed by India to try to stabilize it, as Bangladesh did see a little bit of fighting, so it does gain a little bit of ground, along with Bhutan and Nepal, both a little bit expand their borders. all of the north of Pakistan is annexed. As a nation of Balkanistan does get its independence, which leaves Pakistan this bit of land right here, but is severely weakened and is on the verge of collapse. So let me just color this in. Oh, great. By the way, my little friends are obsessed with PJ Masks. So that's what you're hearing right now. PJ Masks on. There's nothing I can really do about it, as it's starting to worry my mom. It's starting to worry us now about their level of obsession with PJ Mask. Do you have any suggestion on how to deal with that? Can you please leave them down below? As that is hurting my sanity a lot. Also, if you remember my Japan video, same thing's happening here, so I might stop using this color. Wow. It's starting to turn bad. Huh. So just for information now, the ending map is going to be very bad, as with India here, but since I made a point in the video and the video's almost over now, we'll just forget about it. So thank you so much for watching. This is what Vietnam made an empire in 2023. It was a little bit different. Vietnam now has almost entire influence, with only its really other influence being a very much weakened China, a allied India or Australia, but Vietnam now is a major player in it. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.